Last week I talked about unlocking a doorway by mixing your faith with truth to enter into the true rest in the moment, the now. It's not just something in the future or in the past, it's right now. It's tied to the moment you're in, that split second when you're consciously aware and mixing faith and truth, creating an opening where you step into this reality. And that's how we engage in the rest, by living in the now. Now, you can't engage it in the future or the past because it's in the moment, but fear and unbelief keep us from entering in. One of the ways Father explained this to me was through a moment in the Spirit. I was standing in a room with a door that was revolving around me. Every time it passed in front of me, there was a split second to jump through. That was my now opportunity. If I hesitated, then I couldn't step into it, and I realized that my hesitation was due to fear. There's an illustration that the Father gave me many years ago, which I think most of us can relate to. It's probably happened to you at some point in your life, in some form or fashion. Maybe you were sitting on a park bench, or maybe sitting at a table at a restaurant, doing whatever you were doing, eating or engaging with whoever you were with. Someone walks by, and then something drops into your spirit in that moment that says, you need to engage with this person. You need to go talk to them. You need to say something. You need to connect with them. In that split second, in that small moment, we're face to face with a decision. We either choose to walk in faith and get up to approach the person, or we remain seated. In that small moment, we wrestle with questions like, what are they going to think about me? Is that just me? Am I really hearing correctly? And as we hesitate, the person walks by, and we miss the now moment for that opportunity. What I find interesting is that when we hesitate to step into the now, our unbelief increases. In that scenario, it can sometimes lead to internal justification. Maybe that was just me. Maybe that was bad pizza from last night, or something else. We begin to disconnect from that missed moment, and it actually serves to strengthen our unbelief for the next time. So when the next moment comes, we now have a precedent anchored in fear, locked in doubt and unbelief. And now we have to overcome both that and the current moment as well. That's why this cycle continues to reinforce itself unless we break it by stepping out in faith. Just like faith, fear is built line upon line. This is what ultimately kept Israel from entering into the Shabbat Shalom. Their unbelief, built over time, made it harder for them to jump into it. This is why we need Yeshua, as you see at the end of chapter 4 of Hebrews, who becomes our grace and our mercy. And this is where verse 12 comes into play. You see, what's inside us makes it impossible for us to enter the rest because of that unforgiving cycle of precedence after precedence after precedence of fear, building up unbelief over time, making it impossible for us to enter the rest. As long as unbelief is sitting in us, we can never enter the rest. So Yeshua has to come along and pierce the inner core of our being. Like a butcher knife, he begins to clean us, removing that which is keeping us from entering him. It's pretty gruesome, right? But that's the best way to describe verse 13, where everything is uncovered and exposed before the eyes of him to whom we must give account. Yahweh, through his son Yeshua, fillets us open and we become exposed, and everything in us gets exposed so he can clean us up right to the deepest parts within. It's a very aggressive, intense piercing that we're talking about here, and this is in order to cut out everything that produces fear. The dividing of emotions, thoughts, and intentions, all that stuff packed in verse 12, is all part of the cleansing process we undergo so that we can once again come to that doorway and enter into the rest. And then on top of that, after he cleans us up, at the end of verse 13, the writer talks about receiving grace and mercy in time of need. He gives us grace and mercy, which becomes lubricants that contain empowerment properties. In Greek, grace translates as favor, and I love this. Mercy translates as covenant loyalty. By his word, by his good opinion, which ties to 2 Peter, by this relationship with him, he gives us favor and covenant loyalty to propel us into the moment. So he cleans us up, removes the unbelief, and then gives us the supernatural push through the doorway into the now. And he empowers us to run headlong into it so that we don't miss the opportunity. Getting into the moment is done through a relational knowledge of Yeshua. Now here's another aspect of time I want you to get from this. Time is actually mercy. He showed me that time is destiny purposely slowed down. It's mercy because we miss the moment time and time again. Corruption keeps us out of the moment. So time becomes a way for us to come back to that moment again and again and again. Father slows things down so that the judgment rushing towards us is delayed. You see, when he spoke, the world was judged. We were already judged. Our corruption was and is pulling our judgment towards us right now. We couldn't avoid it, except for the fact that Yeshua made a way to escape it. And so, in his mercy, Father slowed down our coming doom rushing at us, giving us ample opportunity to enter into the Shabbat Shalom through Christ. And now, when we miss the moment, there's another moment right behind it, and another one right behind that one. Yes, the judgment is still coming, but we have more time before that cliff. This is the Father's loving kindness at work. In truth, Father makes himself available to every opportunity and makes every effort to provide for a different future, which is why he sent Yeshua to come along, clean us up, empower us with mercy and grace to push us into the portal so that we miss the judgment upon corruption altogether. But the catch is, the Father cannot be what he is not. Therefore, the judgment is still coming, and it's here, which is why we're exhorted, while it's still today, make every effort to seek him out while he may be found and enter into that rest. By the way, a great story I really believe gives us an inside look at the Father's heart regarding the interchange of his immutable judgments, time and mercy, and his enduring loving kindness is the book of Esther. I encourage you to go read it with this thematic lens in mind. When I did, it made a whole lot more sense within the context of Christ as our redeeming kinsman. So as much as we hate time because it feels so sluggish and we want things to happen sooner than they do, this perspective on mercy for our victory and our ability to overcome those things that keep us from becoming what we're designed to be makes time something more beautiful and to be appreciated. And I'm more grateful for the delays and being patient, knowing that I'm still working out my ability to stay in the Shabbat Shalom. And I appreciate having the time to do it, to learn it, and to become successful in it. And I'm far more thankful that my elder brother Yeshua diligently works with me to give me every advantage to enter into the rest of the Father that he prepared for me and you. So with Hebrews 4, I've unpacked a bunch of stuff for you to chew on, and as you have time, go through and look at it again. But now that we've talked about entering into the rest, into the now, in the next part, I'll begin to unpack 2 Peter's tie-ins to Hebrews chapter 4, staying in the now and accessing the resources that are in that gateway. Thanks again for taking time to listen to the second part of Living in the Now. I hope it inspired you to start looking for the true rest in your own life. It really is worth it. If you're a first-time listener and have enjoyed this episode, please consider following this podcast by clicking on the subscribe button. By doing so, you'll get notified when the next part of this series gets released. If you're a regular follower, feel free to click the share button and pass this episode along to someone you think would appreciate it. Do you want to learn more about Segula Studios? Check out my website at segulastudios.com or follow me on X, Telegram, Discord, and YouTube. Until next time, chase after that true rest and continue to discover the you he designed you to be.